Against this right back, Charlie's definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
Because you always use that active red light defenders. I think it's like. Because you always use that active red light defenders. I think it's like. Because you always use that active red light defenders. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
I ain't gonna cap people. That caught me off guard, people. Allow me. I've been trying to eat my breakfast. I've managed to eat it. I apologize for being a few minutes late, people. Let's start again. People deluded. I'm back again. First things first, happy Friday to you lot, wherever you lot are. I hope it's been a great week. I hope the start to the weekend's been amazing. Appreciative to all of you lot yesterday. Wish me a happy birthday. I appreciate that. And I'm appreciative of you lot's consistent support. As usual, comment any talking points, thoughts, etc. Let's remember this is an interactive show. Comment, subscribe, do all of that good stuff. Sunday, people, we're playing West Ham, Arsenal versus West Ham. It kicks off at 2 p.m. I'll be live from 1 p.m. Please make sure you smash the like button and turn on your notifications and such. We're going to go over the news and everything else, people. Again, tomorrow we'll probably preview West Ham Arsenal. I want to really see what Mikel Arteta has to say. I think we've, because of the timings we've gone live, we've spoken about in the watch-alongs, but we've just missed it. So hopefully, if I've timed this correctly, Mikel Arteta this afternoon should be speaking. Tomorrow, we'll obviously do our thing. And again, there'll at least be one watch-along for the games tomorrow, people. We're back on the grind. Apologies for any technical difficulties. We had to miss out on the Champions League. And actually, it would have been nice to watch Man United Sevilla with you lot, but we go again next week. Well, what's left of this weekend again, people. So yeah, comment, subscribe, and all of that. New background. I wouldn't say that. I'm in the process of trying to upgrade the content, and I'm playing around with the room and stuff, and I'm in the process of filtering things in and out. So literally, I'm just using the wall here because, well, you lot can't see it, but if the three other walls are blue, this is that. I'm actually considering painting the whole room green, actually, people, if I'm completely honest with you, because it'd be easy, and then you can't see it, but to the right of me, we wouldn't actually need a green screen. But I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Actually, back using my other laptop. Rice and Gravenberch would transform the midfield. I'm not too sure on transforming, I agree with what you mean in that it will transform us, Kay. Like, we'll look a different dynamic, Obviously, you saw against Liverpool, Xhaka and Partey, especially Partey, I think they had good games. But in terms of seeing out the games, obviously, we know with Partey, there's injury concerns. If he's not there, it's irrelevant. Would have loved to have had Eddie, Tomiyasu, and obviously El Nene in terms of seeing out the game at Anfield. But once again, I feel if you look at that game on reflection, we either needed a number 8 that could come in for Xhaka and just, a form of defense is not just defending all mans to the pump. Now, the second half against Liverpool, our backs were against the wall. To go to that next level, we need to do what Man City do. And again, as much as people are talking about the atmosphere and all of that, and I'm not negating Anfield or any away game, the best teams away from home take the sting out of the crowd. And you either do that with, knowing when to play 5-yard passes, knowing when to play the ball forward, being press resistance. And I love what Granit Xhaka has. I love what he's bringing to the team. I think he's a vital member and it's his spot to lose. But I think we need that number 8 to transform this team to the next level. And I also think we need a number 6. So someone could have come off, whether it's an 8 or a 6 for Granit Xhaka. Evidently, right centre back, right back, potentially left back to go with Tierney. Maybe another wide forward / man that can play in a couple of positions fairly fluid, or a striker takes us to the next level. And I think Declan Rice and Gravenberch long term would be laughing in it if you've got Charlie Patino when the time comes growing into that role. The Smith Rowe's, Fabio Vieira's, Odegaard's could all be groomed to play as an 8. If you get Caicedo and Rice are 8s or 6s, damn right, or midfield options, smash the like button, people. Look a lot sexier. and things like that. But I wouldn't say immediately either player is a curtain raiser. Gravenberch, fantastic potential, lovely player. You wouldn't be at Bayern Munich and coming through at Ajax getting your debut as a kid if you never had that. And Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, all in for him. Declan Rice adds a new dynamic, but I don't. It'll be a thing in hindsight where we'll see. I don't think whether it's Caicedo, Zubimendi, Declan Rice, even if you're not going to get him, but Jude Bellingham, I don't think any of these guys from the moment they sign for Arsenal transform our midfield. I think they can do that in the future, but I don't think they necessarily take it up a gear, if I'm honest with you. But they're more than welcome. Caicedo and Kovacic, instant transformation. All right, Kovacic, we're not going to get him, but if Chelsea were going to get into it, are allegedly having a fire sale, then we could do a lot worse. You know, Kovacic is the exact profile I think we need. Someone that's good on the ball, someone that's great in tight spaces, someone that can win fouls, you know, by just holding on to the ball. I know Firmino was probably the sub that made the most impact in the Liverpool game, but for me, it's Thiago. If you go and look at what Thiago is doing, you know, we're missing a trick not having that, if I'm honest. Kovacic or Gundogan. Kovacic, because he's got more years in him, if I'm honest with you. But Gundogan looks like he's going Barca. Man said his cheeks, he doesn't dribble anymore. I mean, maybe he's damaged goods and we can get money off the clearance section at Chelsea, man. You're seeing what Arteta is doing to the players. I feel like Gravenberch is too much of a project player. We need proven experienced players. I hear you, and we need to do both. But you know, some players are always exceptions to the rule, which Gravenberch would. And to be fair, I do agree with you that he is fairly inexperienced, but again, you've been playing for Ajax as a kid. You're at Bayern Munich. You might not be a regular in there, but you've got a fair amount of experience, a bit like Caicedo. Caicedo, just in terms of Premier League games, he hasn't got 38 Premier League games under his belt. He'll have that by the end of the year, but he would help us. So it depends how you define experience, because in many ways, Saka is one of the most experienced players in our team, if you look at it from another way. But I feel you. But I also feel there's players there are exceptions to the rule, and if there is a small chance of getting Gravenberch, you got to do it really and truly. You know, you're seeing what Arteta is doing with these young players. There's resale value, there's scope to improve and get better and all of that jazz. Smash the like button. I don't think we're going to go for Gravenberch. Neither do I believe with McAllister. I do think we're more likely to go for Ryan than McAllister. I think there's admiration. I just don't think McAllister for all his ability to play in a number of roles. It's not that I don't think Arsenal are keen. I just think they have other priorities. I think if we was to sign the next man from Brighton, we probably got more chance of Caicedo. But, you know, McAllister, Alexis McAllister, him, his uncle, his dad, they're doing all they can to kind of make it clear that whether it's Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, whoever, he will seek pastures new for next season. Apparently, Chelsea may sell Reece James this summer. If true, that would be a fantastic long-term purchase. I mean, Chelsea have been doing some crazy stuff. I don't think they'll sign they'll sell Reece James. If they do, they're smoking something really. That man is a potential future captain for Chelsea. You know, he's a key part of, you know, club level and international level. You know, there's just some players you can't hate on. Reece James is wavy. I mean, I would love for them to do it. It's Chelsea and that, but that would comfortably be the most stupidest decision. Still think Yuri would do well in our system. I also agree. Defo take Gravenberch for long term, but for now, Caicedo or Telemans most likely. I don't think we're gonna go for Telemans. I just think because of the level of interest, if we wanted him, he would have been there. I do think we might entertain talks, but you hear his agent and him, they're putting mad wages on what he requests, rightly so. He's a free transfer and he's 25 years of age. You got to get these big deals, these good deals where you can. But yeah, I just don't think that's a thing. Deluded, would you take Diaz as someone who can compete with Saka on the right and he can also play as an 8? I prefer him to play on the left, the right, or the 10. But in theory, yeah, because I think we either do it two ways. Again, big up Balogun, one love to all the attackers. But I personally think Arsenal are missing a trick. Not signing one more attacker, whether that's a striker that forces Jesus to compete or play in wide areas. Indirectly, that could be good for Saka because Jesus could fill in and do quite well there. Or you either sign someone of the Trossard ilk that can play in a couple of roles, or you sign that striker, whether you found another Bayor when he was at Monaco or Giroud before he become a relative household name. You either do the scouting thing or you buy these blockbuster strikers, the Vlahovic's, the Osimhen's, all these guys that are always linked to things, but that's going to cost a pretty penny. You do see some reports saying Mikel Arteta wants a striker, and we are missing a trick. As much as we're sharing the goals, as good as Jesus has been, and I know Jesus has had injuries and whatnot, and he's been in great form since he's come back from his injury, he doesn't carry that great catalogue of goals. And as we saw with Alexis, as we see with Liverpool historically, with Salah, and unfortunately Kane with Spurs, you know, when you've got someone that's going to carry that catalogue of goals, it must hit different. And a bit like Saka has got us out of jail with a lot of his goals. How many games, not that there's been too many because we've been near enough perfect, but how many games could there be where we ain't really been at it, and a striker that's just a bit more clinical than what we have, that could be the difference between snatching a point or nicking an extra 2 when you're drawing. So I'm not sure. You do see some reports saying Mikel Arteta would like a striker, and then and whatnot. And with, you know, Kroenkes are not broke. You know, again, if we've got 70 odd million to bid for Mudryk and these things, then there's money there. But I just wonder, you know, would Mikel Arteta spend that money on a blockbuster striker? You know, if you're presented with a midfielder that's going to cost a pretty penny in a striker, where does the priorities lie? Again, goals win games, and strikers can change your team. But I think he's more likely to spend in the centre mid region. Personally, I think we need 2 of those. Smash the like button if you haven't. I think we need 2 of those. I've said I think we need a right back. Depending on Tierney left back, I would like a right-sided centre back, which Levi Colwill isn't. But if reports are to be believed, then Chelsea are going to clip him. I think they're smoking something special if we're able to get him. I know we've just signed Kirion, we've got Gabriel, but who said you can't have the best of both worlds, really and truly? If we agree on the fact we need a right back, who would you go for, DG? I can't lie, I haven't got over Fresneda. Not really. If Arteta wants these guys, then fair enough. But Baku and these kind of guys, it's dead. Like, for me, we should just shop in La Liga, man. Again, being linked with players is completely different from signing people. But, you know, I would love to sign Zubamendi in midfield, Fresneda, Gabby Vega. I think La Liga, Arteta Spanish, I think we might be missing the trick not going over there. Because when you look at Fresneda, I'm not a religious follower of Valladolid, nor do I know all his strengths and weaknesses. But when you look at the clips available and the 90 minutes, he does kind of do the Benjamin White thing, and he does kind of do the Zinchenko thing in terms of going into midfield. So I could see why Mikel Arteta wants him. And he's 18 years of age as well. And as much as I love Tomiyasu, he's not at the greatest of seasons when he's played, with the exception of playing well against Salah. And obviously he's a versatile player. But as we see at this point in the season, the best quality you can have is being available. And Tomiyasu, really and truly, he's probably the one that's more of a... Would it be fair to say he's more of an injury concern than Thomas Partey? I don't necessarily think that, really. But I also think it because the last couple of injuries Tomiyasu has, again, I might be chatting rubbish, but it looks like... It's a bit harsh to put him as that, but it looks like they're coincidental, like they're happening in game. Like, what was it? Sporting, he got ripped, he caught his studs. I'm sure there's been a couple of those incidences. Marcel, big up yourself. Appreciative for your super chat and the belated birthday message, man. You're always here, you know. Appreciate you. DG, I want Arsenal to go for Leao and try to convince Camavinga or De Jong. I mean, dream chasing, it's going to cost a pretty penny. You probably got more chance of getting De Jong because of the financial stuff at Barca than Camavinga, really. There's talk Real Madrid want to give him a new deal and things. Keep your comments coming. I'd love for it. With Rafa Leao, I love him. I think he's a good player. I think there's a lot of things you'd need to improve. You need to improve in tight spaces. You need, I don't know what his stats has, but you know, even in the week in the Champions League, he done one great run, went past 3-4 players, but that's irrelevant if you don't put the ball in the back of the net. For me, I wouldn't want Rafa Leao purely because, again, I can't just look at ability. On ability and shiny new toy, of course I want Rafa Leao. He looks wavy. But if you look at Arsenal's front three, you know, right wing, yeah, you can move Trossard over there, Nelson's there, but it's just Saka. If we're completely honest, yeah, that you could, even if you sign the next striker, as we're saying, you could move Jesus over there, but it's really just Saka. In the 10, we've got Odegaard, you've got Smith Rowe, you've got Vieira. Everyone can play in a couple of roles. On the left wing, it's kind of open season. If there's a fit Smith Rowe, it's Martinelli's spot to lose, but you've got Martinelli, Trossard, a fit Smith Rowe up front. Yes, Trossard plays there, but just out and out strikers. You have to put asterisks next to the name of Balogun because he's not here at the moment. It's Eddie and Jesus. On the right wing, there's nothing really. So unless someone can tell me Rafa Leao can perform off that right-hand side, I'm not negating what he does on the left, but unless he can perform off that right, or be converted into a striker similar to what we kind of, or re-converted into a striker like what Wenger did with Henry, I'm not really for it, really, you know. And with him playing up front, you know, again, to play under Mikel Arteta, what is his general play like? What is he like with his back to goal and things like that? So if we're not going to convert Rafa Leao to a striker, I'm not really for it. On ability and his quality, of course, you know, I'm having the guy tomorrow, in it. DJ, if Zubamendi costs 60 million, which is a release clause, which 8 would you pair him with that we can get in the market? Honestly, not a clue, really and truly, man. Really, off the top of my head, I'm more focused on the 6, if I'm honest with you. You know, the Kones, the Caicedos, etc. You know, Gravenberch would be decent. You know, you've still got Granit Xhaka. I just think we need 2 midfielders. I don't think it's necessarily that. In terms of complementing, I could see why Rice and Caicedo would be a thing. I would, there's a couple really. Gravenberch would be decent. Kakare's not really an 8 like that, and he's at Lyon at the moment. Probably needs to improve a tiny bit physically. I do like Thuram over there at Nice, who can play in both of the roles. But half of the players we're linked with, there's a lot of defining. Gabby Vig is a box-to-box midfielder. I could see him being deep, playing a slightly deeper and dictating the tempo of games as the Celta Vigo man develops. But he'd be decent. Zubimendi, I think Zubimendi be a better option than Caicedo and Rice, but I'm happy with any of them. Leao's a slightly polished Pepe. You reckon if Felix goes back to Atletico, we could grab him more a myth? Probably because of the finances, it's a myth. But if you put down the bread in Chelsea, you're moving shaky. Anything's possible in this life, man. With Nelson possibly getting an extension, I don't see us buying a winger. I hear that. I don't understand. Is Caicedo an 8 or a 6 because he's a 6? Then why do we want both Rice and Caicedo? Because Declan Rice is probably likely to play in that Xhaka role, if I'm honest with you. And just because you're a 6 doesn't, you look at Arteta's team, everything is fairly functional. Obviously, the premise, the foundations of everybody's role. Defender's got to defend, 6 has got to break up play. The number 8's got to link defend, midfield to attack. But when you look at it, that's the obvious. But when you start breaking it down, just because Partey's the 6, how many times has Partey's chipped in with a couple of goals, but how vital is Partey to our progressive movement going forward? And just because Xhaka's playing in that new role and it kind of hides his deficiencies and he's doing well, he still has to defend. So it's a bit fluid, really and truly. When you look at Caicedo, he's probably more of a polished 6 than me, in my opinion, than Declan Rice. But, Arteta can develop these players. Caicedo, Rice, they're not the finished articles. The 1-8 I would love, we're not going to get him in it, in Jude Bellingham. And I don't even think he's as good as people make out. And I'm not hating on him. I'm not saying he's overrated. It's just, people forget my man's 18, 19, and he done well at the World Cup. It's very different, playing for Dortmund than playing in the Prem week in, week out, where there's a level of expectation. Shout out DG. Hope you had the best birthday ever. I appreciate that. We're pulling Hakimi on on this, girls from on City, but you're moving mad. Appreciate you nonetheless, man. You're moving absolutely mad. Cover would be a good replacement for Xhaka. The problem with Kovacic is I don't think he's going to entertain Arsenal, not because he wouldn't, but you might as you've done what you needed to do at Chelsea. I just think he'll bust out of the Prem. Whether he goes back to Spain or Italy is another thing. Elite talking points, people. You lot are the fabric of the channel. Keep them coming. We've got 38 likes. There's over 100 of you locked in on YouTube. Keep it going. Keep it going. Twitch gang, as usual, you're appreciated as well. Happy belated DG. Big up the chat. I can't decide between Caicedo and Rice. Rice doesn't seem agile enough, especially compared to Partey. Could be harsh though. Bit harsh. He's fairly dynamic. Obviously looks a bit stiff, but why? But he does get forward, man. I think that's harsh on him, really. I can't decide either. I'd be happy with either one. Both relatively Premier League proven. Rice, English, seems like we want him and things. But with Caicedo, obviously there's gears he can go up in his game. But you look like you're ready. Not everybody has to do the multifunctional thing. You look like a 6. You're ready. You can fight Partey for his spot, or you can play with him in certain games and whatnot. With Rice, it's more. The more I think about it, again, Rice, initially, and I still kind of believe it to a degree, I thought, you know what, you're going to try and fight Partey for his spot. You're the long-termism there. But when you look at Rice, you look at Brighton, respectfully to West Ham, Brighton play better football. They've got better players. The project is a lot better. They play silky football. It's a lot easier to display your talents within that side, like I said, or then at West Ham, where it's a myth. And I don't think we've seen everything with Declan Rice. As I always say, there's piano pushers and piano players. Declan Rice is always going to be a piano pusher relatively. He's never, whether it's a midfield trio, what Arsenal do, or for England, he's never going to be the most dynamic. For England, it's Jude Bellingham. That's the wavy guy. Declan Rice is more mucking, win the ball back and whatnot. But I do think there's qualities in Declan Rice's game that I don't know he has, because I haven't seen it in a team. Like, again, it's not the same, but I look at Aaron Ramsdale. Obviously, I remember sitting there on YouTube and I couldn't understand why some Arsenal fans were going mad about Aaron Ramsdale. Was it the goalie I thought we would get? No. Did he look a bit shaky? Of course, but I thought it was a decent signing. But when I look at him, I didn't know how good you were with the ball at your feet. Obviously, Mikel Arteta wants to play out from the back. Now, again, I give him that luxury because that was the side of your game I didn't see. And I don't know how Arteta saw that at Bournemouth or wherever he was, because they don't play out from the back. So if there's gears that Rice can display in an Arsenal team, fair enough, really and truly. And I like them both, man. I think Declan Rice would be hungry to step up and join his England teammates, right? Caicedo, South American hunger. He said, I'm here to look after my 10 siblings. We need some. I don't like to compare humans to animals, but we need some dogs. We need people that muck in. We just need guys that are with it, man. Thoughts on El Nesri as a potential 9? I think he's perfect. Probably years too late now, really. I wouldn't be gutted if we get Rice and Ward-Prowse. I think Ward-Prowse is underrated, experienced corners, free kicks, runs his ass off, and a leader. What's not to like? Rice, Ward-Prowse is decent, but I just don't think it's there. Appreciate the birthday message. Happy belated, DG. What are your thoughts on bringing in players that have Champions League experience? Seems like Arteta's approach for the Prem. I mean, if you see, like you said, you see what the Premier League is bringing in. Premier League players that has happened. Sometimes it's gone wrong. Cedric and Willian. Others it's done better. I'm all for bringing in experienced players as long as they're the right players. But if we're not just talking about players that have played in the Champions League for the sake of it and actually good players, which I think you're alluding to, then Champions League players 9 times out of 10 carry Champions League prices, in it. So man have to put the bread down. I'd be happy with Caicedo and Rice as well. But as you lot know, that's going to cost a lot of bread. West Ham's position is probably weaker than Brighton's. Brighton are probably going to be in Europe. They've tied down Caicedo. They're probably bringing another couple of players. Obviously, Caicedo's probably had his head turned to a degree by Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, whoever's been linked with him in it, really and truly. But they've tied down his deal, and they can sit there and say, boy, you know what? If you're on the move, because we got more time to get a replacement in. You wanted to go to Arsenal in Jan. Go talk to them again, but you don't have to force it. Look what we've done. We bettered last season. Now you see we're going to be in Europe this year. Well, next year in some capacity. What have you got? Where you look at West Ham, it feels like the beginning of the end. Whether Declan Rice signs for us or any of the other top 6 clubs, or even Newcastle have been linked with him again, one would imagine, it's the beginning of the end. The best thing Declan Rice can do is leave through the front door, captain, help them stay in the division, all the best sort of thing. Right, Declan isn't a bad player. The agendas are funny. Don't get me wrong. Caicedo, I'll get first, but Rice is calm if we got him. On one hand, I think we need both, but is it feasible to get both, or is it going to be one and then an alternative guy that we're linked to? Will you take back Dani Ceballos? Champions League experience and absolute S-Housery done and all of these things, but nah, man, I don't see how you fit into Arsenal. You don't even fit in that realm. You come off the bench and that lovely player, and you're not going to be the only player there, but what does Ceballos bring? And I remember reading a couple of Ceballos' comments a few months ago. He said he wanted to cut out from the Prem since the moment he landed at Arsenal. So, yeah, when you've been at Madrid, you might just look, I know you've worked here before, but you might just say, I work with Carlo and that. I'm really with this Arteta thing. I've won champs. Am I going to be with it? And, again, if we're bringing in guys from Madrid and all these experiences, I know Ceballos has been on loan here, but, we're not getting, you are a Champions League player, and I'm not dissing him at all, but you're not a Champions League curtain raiser that the club needs. You're a fantastic technical man, and on that basis, why not? But I don't see what you bring. Are you going to put pressure on Granit Xhaka's spot? Potentially, but probably not if I had to bet. Are you going to say anything to Partey? Probably not. Are you going to play in the 10 ahead of Odegaard or Smith Rowe? Maybe at this moment in time, Fabio Vieira. You're going to be on decent wages. I wouldn't, for Arteta wants it, I'm not necessarily against it. And he has got experience, but yeah, I'm not really with it, man. If I'm honest, I don't see what he brings to the side, man. Thoughts on Mount? Decent player, just bad habits, and I don't know what's going on. Zubimendi more or less a 6 or 8. For me, he's more of a 6. And he's one of them culture dons. He's nothing like Rodri, but Sambi's got to lay down a marker, because when you look at our midfield options, the one thing Lokonga has is age on his side. Jorginho, Xhaka, Partey, Onene, that isn't there. So, really, we should be talking about either 1-8 or a 6, because Lokonga should have locked down one of them roles, but he hasn't done that at this moment in time. And I know they play in other roles, but I'm not going to give up on Vieira, Odegaard, Smith Rowe being able to play as an 8. I'd rather see them all players at 8 ahead of him. I'd rather at this moment in time El Nene, Jorginho, and Partey as a 6 ahead of him, even though, the one thing Lokonga probably has on Jorginho is mobility. He just hasn't nailed down the spot. I want Lokonga to look like Yaya Toure and all these things, because we'll save a player, and we got to remember people develop at different rates. For me, if he impresses Arteta in the summer, then fair enough, but I think he might as well just either park him off for a full season at Crystal Palace, because you're already there, depending on who's going to be the gaffer there. I don't know if Hodson's going to stay. That would mean 3 managers, Vieira, Hodgson, and whoever. Or Burnley got promoted the other day. Company, when we signed, said he reminds him of Yaya Toure. Go to Turf Moor and let's see this Yaya Toure stuff for a year, innit? And then you come back. If that is the case, put yourself in the shop window. Patterno, let's slow cook Charlie, man. With us being in the Champions League, I can't see too much game time, but let the man develop. And as I said, naturally, as spots start to open within the squad, he'll bag a role, really and truly, if I'm honest, in my opinion, anyways. But just let him build on his Blackpool experience and keep doing what he's doing. if in my opinion. You lot, elite talking points, keep them going. DG, what do you expect from our clash with City? Where's that? Rob, boy, we ain't even got for us West Ham, you know, but same old, same old. I'm expecting a tactical battle where Pep wins some of the battle, Arteta wins some of the battle. The last couple of times we've lost to City, you know, it's been fine margins, and I think Arsenal fans and the players do. But we need to comprehend football's a 90-minute game. You know, obviously there's going to be periods where you're up against it, like the Liverpool game. We could have won, lost, or drawn, which we did, and had no complaints because we didn't do everything we needed to do across the 90. And I know some of you say I'm a bit harsh in things, but it's only because fine margins that have worked for us or gone against us, against certain teams, they're not going to work for you. And to a degree, it did against Liverpool, because second half we probably should have got nothing. Maybe we could have even nicked it at the end, a bit like Man United at home for different reasons, the drama sort of aspect. But yeah, it's fine margins. You know, when we lost to them at the Emirates, we started perfectly, we did well. They showed their street smartness. They bought a penalty, and then literally the final whistle, basically they've nicked it. Obviously in the FA Cup, Ake scored. You know, considering we rotated our team, there was some benefits, but we went out. The last game we played, I think we matched them toe to toe. Obviously Gabriel and Tomiyasu made some mistakes. We weren't clinical in the final third with some of our attacking players. So literally fine margins, really. And when you play teams like Liverpool, like City, teams we could expect in the Champions League, you don't always get away with this. Don't get twisted. Sometimes you earn the right to get away with it, like we did at Man United at home, not quite away. And there's many things we're going to have to learn. Like I was going to make a video about unpopular opinions. I love Mikel Arteta. I love what you're doing. I love your potential and these things, but no man is without faults. If you lot can talk about improvements I could make as a content creator, and we can talk about Saka and Martinelli, what they could do, Arteta, and I would say two glaring things for me with Arteta. I don't think he's done well enough in Europe, again, in a two-legged tie. Yes, I'm not just blaming him, but I just feel what you was here when we got rubbed out against Olympiacos, I'm sure. Villarreal, you have to hold that. Sporting Lisbon, we all have to hold that. I would say that. And I actually feel Arteta makes subs at the right time a lot of the time, but I also feel sometimes as fans, you know, we can see that he needs to change things. And sometimes I think when he's changed things, and it's the players have got to take responsibility, but it's kind of harmed us. I did like him going to a back three against Liverpool, but I think the way we deployed that, or the way the players went about it, we shot ourselves in the foot. Obviously, you look at Man United away in September, we had to rock up there without El Nene and Partey. We signed up for that with not signing players with injuries, and we were good for periods of the game. We were better than them, but we didn't take the lessons on the counter attack. And I would say in the second half, when he made his changes, I think he took off Lokonga instantly. We've conceded. So these are the things I would love to see Mikel Arteta improve. There's not much beyond the obvious you could do as a manager, because Arteta's got potential. I want to see the potential correlate to accolades and moving this club forward with what we're doing. But I'm sure you get the point. Rice and Valverde dream mid signings, but again, too much bread. But Rice and Zubamendi is achievable financially. With Zubamendi, you know, them Spanish players, they're a bit reluctant to leave sometimes. You know, Zubamendi's got a release clause, like with Partey. Get it done, really and truly. With Caicedo and Rice, we're probably going to have to play the game, convince them. You know, put yourself in West Ham or Brighton's shoes, more so West Ham, because Brighton are more likely to replace Caicedo in it, really. You know, they've got the replacement for the replacement for the replacement before we even know who they are. At this point, I think Brighton's an industry plant of a club, because they're signing players from the four corners of the world and homegrown, and everyone's lit. You've got Asian lads there, South American lads there, you know, African lads there, just everyone from all over the world. Everyone's good in it. So it's gonna be an issue. You know, Brighton are not really pushed to sell. I think they probably said, you know what, McAllister, you could go. They've kind of hoodwinked Caicedo to sign a new deal. He's got wages, so they're in a stronger position, really and truly. And if you're Brighton, even if Arsenal were to bid 70-80 million, and you say, all right, on the first day of the window opening, you say, all right, cool, go talk to them. You might, you know, Edu might call you. You might not answer it first time. You might be a bit of a devil and send an email to Man United, Man City, so on and so forth, and say, listen, there's a bid for Caicedo from Arsenal. What are you lot saying? And provoking a bidding war. West Ham probably need to do that a lot more, because they need every bit of bread they can squeeze. So by all means, go after Caicedo, go after Lavia, go after Declan Rice. But we have to be prepared, like we've shown with Mudryk, to A, walk away, to, you know, he might say, do you know what, I like the Liverpool thing, because all of us, you know, you look at Spurs as well to a degree, but you look at Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool, we all need centre mids of various different degrees and various options. And when you look at Liverpool, you know, they've done what they've done. They won the Premier League champs recently. Obviously, they're in a rebuild. They've got Klopp, but when you look at the midfield, it looks like open season. If you're Caicedo, if you're Rice, if you're Lavia, if you're all the Telemans, if I'm one of these players, I'm not saying that Liverpool's the only option, but you look at it like, boy, I could slot right in. You got Henderson, you got out of sorts for Fabinho, Milner's getting a lot of game time and that. You probably think you could finesse a role there. You're ready to play, you know, again. So it all depends, really. But Zubamendi's got a release clause, so surely it's more feasible. And that's why I keep saying, by all means, go after Caicedo, go after Rice, go after whoever. But we need to be prepared to, A, walk away, 2, to just not get the target. And again, once the window shuts, we're in the Champions League next year. I don't want to hear sorry, people, I dropped this off the mic. Apologies. I don't want to hear nothing about we tried. You better get an 8 and a 6. Because if we don't, we're going to learn the hard way, in my opinion, man. If I'm completely honest with you. Keep your opinions coming. Love to get Zubamendi. Can give that link. Great passing and reads the game. Massive scope too. And he's actually good in the air. Like, for me, that could be our little Rodri, if I'm honest with you. I'm all for Zubamendi, man. Obviously, I got a bias to them La Liga players, you know. So, like I said, Fresnadar, Diaby, Viga, Zubamendi, just get them done, man. Vinicius, Fatty, you know, it's easy to play for Barca and Real Madrid, man. Come join us, man. We should try and get Cancelo, as City will sell him. Yeah, but, you know, if you're causing up madness with Pep Guardiola, if you're not playing at Bayern, and I think, you know, if you look at, again, you know, I don't have it to statistics, but if you look at Caicedo, he's actually moved clubs quite frequently. So I don't know him, and I'm going to cut him, you know, some slack. But if I'm playing devil's advocate, could you say you're not necessarily good for the dressing room? You're, you know, there's something with your mentality, as great as you are. You know, you've gone to Bayern. Maybe it's an ability thing, but why aren't you playing? There were rumors before, you know, my man got sacked. Nagelsmann, he was saying, you know, you're not applying yourself in training. And not to diss Arteta or Arsenal, but if you've been at Bayern Munich and City and doing what Pepper's done and things, you might come here and think you can, you know, I've won the Prem, I've done what I've needed to do, I've played in the Champs final, I might come around and do some foolishness. If it's just on ability, of course, I'm here for Cancelo, you know, right back, left back. It's harsh to Zinchenko and or Benjamin White, but that's someone that could be wavy and things like that. Obviously, the finances, the wages, the fee, you know, you're going to have to pay a premium. And that's before we even discuss going back to what we're talking about, primarily centered around central midfield and et cetera, et cetera. So it's probably just a myth, man. In my opinion, I don't have any 59 likes. Can we get to 100 people? One love to the Twitch gang. I am not in the know or anything. I just think he rocks up in Spain next year, honestly. You heard Bayern Munich are not trying to get him permanently. Again, finances might be one thing, but has he necessarily done much? And to be fair, you look at him, Mane, they ain't really done much at Bayern since they've joined. Well, Mane has dupied someone. Apparently, this Zubamendi is meant to be the next Busquets. Let him be his old man. Zubamendi has a £52.8 release clause. I prefer him over Declan Rice. Caicedo is number one target for me. DG feeling bold today, huh? Kovacic in, you say. I mean, I don't know what that means, but yeah, I like Kovacic. You know, I don't think we're going to get him, but he has the skill set that I think, you know, we're going to shop at Chelsea. I know some people say he's declining, but you're fairly press resistant. You're very experienced. Let's remove the name and the club. That is the profile I think we need in midfield. I'm not saying there aren't people that do what he does to a better standard or slightly different, but I think that's what we need. We need some more athleticism in the middle of the park, and we need some guys that are fairly press resistant. Again, how you hold on to the ball, how you take the sting out of games, you know, is a form of defense beyond the obvious. And I think that's the next. We've got to be a lot more street smart. So we need to bring in some street smart players. Again, this next year, if the game at Anfield is exactly the same next year, especially that second half, as I said, like in a boxing match, sometimes you have to take punches. In the Prem, sometimes the team gets on top of you. It happens. And I don't like to use City as an example, but we aspire to be like them. If that City, beyond the obvious, they win that game. A year from now, if that same game happens, I expect Arsenal to take them 3 points, because we need to be street smart to say, you know what, we won the first half an hour. This is their game. Let's frustrate them. Let's hold on to the ball. Let's win some fouls. Let's take a little tumble where we can. You know, these sort of things there, you know, in the second half, we needed a guy that was physical up front that could, you know, compete with Van Dijk and win some fouls and get us further up the pitch. We need to be able to take the sting out of games, because the games have been very emotional, and we've got a good foundation. We've got more resilience. We've got better flexibility with tactics. The players are better. The players are more receptive to the gaffer. Arteta's learning on the job, and he's learning quite fast. We're seeing his blueprint week in, week out. You know, our top 6 record is improving, you know, and all of these things. But with us having the season we're doing and skipping the steps, it's not to diss Arsenal, but we're not at a level yet that some fans think. And you're gonna see you see it every now and again in the Champions League and next year where we're a bit found out now because we've been a bit of an unknown entity. People know, and they're starting to clock it. We've broke down low blocks, but low block, we're in trouble. Sometimes we'll switch off on the transition. Zinchenko is going to go into midfield and be the conductor with Xhaka and Odegaard. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody gets found out. That's why Pep Guardiola is so good beyond the obvious. He has managed to keep being this guy. So to go to the next level, we need that, in my humble opinion. Big up you lot. Again, let's make another timestamp. Here we have it. Martin Zubimendi is part of the same agency as Mikel and grew up in the same region. Maybe there's a chance. Bro, he needs to gas him. But I'm not going to lie to you. Every now and again, we're linked with players and we hear, they share the same agent, this, that, and the other. So, yeah, man. 52 million for Zubimendi is not worth it for me either. Rice, Caicedo, Paulinho, I'll take it. I'm not taking Paulinho with the greatest of respect over Zubimendi. Brighton signed a player on data analysis. Are we missing the trick as a club, DG? No, because we've shown we've done that, really. Ironically with Tavares, he said that was an analytical setting. The eyes have to marry. I mean, everyone's got them. Somebody asked, would I take Gundogan? Of course. But it looks like he's going somewhere else. If we're going to spend 100 million, don't you think we should go all out for Bellingham? He said he's not about money. Team Arsenal would clearly be perfect for him and us in every aspect. And if he did say that, then why not? But with him, Real Madrid, all these guys are going to be onto you. So you're going to have to do something. Newsflash, Arsenal are not at a level where you can just go and get key Chelsea players at his prime. Arsenal aren't there yet. Of course not, really and truly, it doesn't have to. Who in their prime is at Chelsea at this moment in time? But we've shown we can go out and get key players. We're not going to get KOVACIC, but if he is for sale, ask a question. Arsenal and Chelsea have negotiated with each other more in more recent years than ever. So, yeah, man. It is what it is. This summer is the one for midfielders. Most teams need one. It's ridiculous. Amen. And we've seen on the pitch in terms of game management, seeing out games. Sometimes we've missed Xhaka. Sometimes we've missed Partey. We know if you take either one out of that team, we've lost a lot in midfield. You've seen injuries as well, to key players. We've seen this midfield thing. And Edu and Arteta, you were midfielders. Edu, you was a squad player in the Invincible. So you as well know the need to have multiple midfielders as well. And we're missing the trick. I don't think we're going to go to that next level defensively or in the final third until that midfield is of the same stature. And I'm not dissing Partey or Granit Xhaka with that. Man, I'm moving like we didn't steal their only 6. Man, everyone's allowed an opinion. One summer doesn't make a summer. Okay. Zubimendi can break lines with his pass switch play with diagonal cross. His positioning is good, physically strong, technically good on the ball. As you would in your Spanish, he makes the right decisions. I hear that. I think I'm the only one in the world who thinks Bellingham needs to work on his passing. Not saying it's poor, just saying it's limited. Arsenal, Bellingham needs to work on a lot. He's 18, 19 years of age. He's a young lad. And obviously, you're at Dortmund with the greatest of respect. You're a young star boy. Everything you do turns to gold. You sign for Real Madrid. You might not necessarily start, but everything you do is going to be scrutinized. Look at Tchouaméni. He's had some good periods. At Real Madrid, and he's also gone through moments of adversity. Vinicius Jr. as well. It's only in the last 18 months, 2 years, Vinicius has probably convinced Benzema, but has shown his levels in it. So it's very difficult for a young player, because I always say you go through the honeymoon period. It's a bit like what Saka and Martinelli have had to go through. You're adored, you're loved, everything you do turns to gold, and then the same fans that put you on a certain pedestal, they're like, what's going on? You saw the level of criticism Bellingham was in for when they lost to Chelsea at the Bridge. Big up DG. I definitely think we could go for Bellingham, but we better not go into next season without a prolific striker. Bellingham's probably just too expensive. They're saying 100, 120, 135. You factor in his wages. If you're Jude Bellingham, his advisors, if Saka's on 200 grand a week or allegedly gonna be on 200 grand a week, I'm sitting there and I'm saying, I need to be on one of them as well. In time, Smith Rowe could play as an 8, and Mikel knows that because he played him in a bunch of roles. And he played. Do you remember when we played Brighton at home last year with Lokonga as a 6, Odegaard and Smith Rowe either side? I think it was the right thing at the wrong time. We are growing it organically. Stars. If you're a star or an unknown entity, you come in because you're the right guy at Arsenal. I don't know what you're saying there, really, but fair enough. I don't know about Basuma's situation, but he's just not doing the business at Spurs, to be fair. And I was talking about this with my boy. It's like, obviously, Rafinha at times is showing his quality at Barcelona. but it does look like Chelsea and Arsenal potentially dodged the bullet. Mudryk, you have to give him the courtesy of next year because not a single player is really thriving for Chelsea. And I do think had they signed for Arsenal, maybe they would have looked a lot different. But then playing devil's advocate, assuming that we got both and they're performing how they're performing, because on one hand, you can only go with what you see. Do we have to question the club's talent ID? Should we fight to dominate possession or sit back and pressure them in the right moments? Basically do what City have done at the Emirates. Both. You have to be balanced. You have to be confident. Don't be stupid against City. But long gone are the days of just sitting back and sitting back and sitting back and sitting back. You have to take the chance. You know, obviously there's a bit of different factors, but we looked a lot better against Liverpool in the first half because everyone was playing with a calmness. Everyone was doing their jobs. We made a mistake. We get back with it, you know, and we're trying to split that. At one point, Liverpool couldn't cope with us. The minute we probably sat back and obviously lost a bit of our discipline towards the end of the first half. But the minute we was camped before even the changes, we was camped in our own half. We was deeper as a defense. You know, we weren't really backing ourselves as much as we were. You're waiting for the inevitable. You know, long gone really are the days in the Premier League where a team just faces a barrage of, like what used to happen to Arsenal at the Emirates, really, where we'll have about 1 million chances. A team will soak up the pressure. 89th minute, ball over the top, bang, 3 points gone. So again, it is what it is. I would like to beat Chelsea though, man. United at City though, man. It's been a long time. We need level raises. I hear that. It's gone from will we sign a quality player to which quality players are we signing great times? Exactly. As much as I like shiny new toys, sexy signings, big money signings, they have to be the right additions, man. There's no point. Every Premier League team has spent money, some more than others. Arsenal, listen, it didn't work out in terms of Willian, the wages we gave him. Pepe, for whatever reason, did not work out. Spurs with Ndombele, United with Pogba, it really didn't work out regardless of the trophies and whatnot. Chelsea have made that big money signings. Signings flop time and time again. We need the right guys. If the guy costs £2 or 200 million and generally and we're able to do it, get it done, innit? Smash the like button, people. 70 likes. We're close. And don't forget, people, tomorrow, obviously, I mean, better yet, tomorrow, I'm living a day ahead. Sunday, we're watching West Ham Arsenal together where we'll actually get to see Declan Rice under the lights. Let's remember where you might be playing. Well, that could be anywhere, really. Appreciate that, Weezy. Bellingham is too early for the Arsenal process. This summer, we are building depth, 2-3 quality signings, couple youngsters. Summer 24, we can sign star players like Bellingham. There might not be a chance. But then again, as I said yesterday, for Jude Bellingham, for all the links to all of these clubs, you've got a Euros to think about next summer. If you keep, you're going to get a move anyways. But if you keep doing what you're doing, you know, you're going to get a move. Could it be worth just sitting and staying stable, really? Because if you go to a new club, obviously, Dortmund could have a poor season, but you know how things go at Dortmund. You know what's happening. You play well for another season, then you move next year, and Dortmund might say, thankfully, because like with the World Cup, if there's a next international tournament, he puts a couple more pounds on his price tag, really. At some points, I think he's good. I don't think Liverpool are ruled out. Sometimes I think, you know what, Bellingham's going to go City, and then I just don't know, really. Players like Bellingham don't come around often. They don't, man, but get the right players, man. You know, you missed this one, couple years, there'll be a next one, man. Appreciate you, Rochelle. Appreciate you for tuning in. Don't want to steer far away from the topic. There is no topic here per se. This Victor Rogue, have you seen much of him? Thoughts? Say Saul were linked, but Chelsea have entered the race. He's wavy. You know, there's all this talk about Endrick. He's wavy. He can play out wide, can play up front. He's a young man, 18 years of age. I think he works extremely well off the ball. He plays with his head up for a young man. He is fairly strong. Obviously, you're gonna have to, you know, playing in Brazil, it's a physical league, but the Premier League is a different ball game. I like what I see. I really do like what I see. He's 18. You have to give him time, but if you know, I do think he's one that don't come around too often. I know we live in a day and age of, you know, I've done a video on him, check that out. But I know we live in a day and age where, you know, if you're Argentine and you're 18, 19, you play well, it's next Messi, next Aguero, Brazilian, everyone's next Neymar, next this, that, the other. England, you have this, even at our club, every decent talent, best talent since Jack Wilshere. It's difficult, but I think he really is the truth. We need 2 centre mids or one who can do both 8 and 6. Try transition Smith Rowe to left mid. We need a right wing and an upcoming right back. I mean, one's minimum, you know. If El Nene could stay fit, we might be able to get away with it. Exactly. There's always a new star in the market, especially nowadays, how players are getting hyped. Because today and age, even with managers, you know, it's about what you could do in the future. It's never about what you're doing right now, to a degree, in my opinion. Pardon me, and the people who gas up these players, they're the first to turn on them. I'd love to see us try sign Gavi, but dream chasing. So yeah, Bellingham is not, you know, Jude Bellingham's a fantastic talent, a fantastic player, but he's not up there like that right now for where he could go. And he's going to need to improve. But at the same time, for as great as he is, he's at where he should be at for a young player, really. Don't we have someone similar to Real Q? Brazilian bias, you know, I'll come with that. So if it's up to me, we get that done. Edu, get the barbecue out, mate. Get the barbecue out. All right, whatever that means. We got you. I have a Brazilian bias also, but I haven't seen much of him. Thanks for the breakdown. I mean, I think he really has a lot of potential, man. If I'm completely honest with you, this guy sounds too heartbroken. As an Arsenal fan, are you surprised by Aubameyang's lack of starting opportunities at Chelsea? I'm a bit bewildered by his situation, but not necessarily because why you're not starting. But then again, you know, to be left out of the Champions League, etc., is kind of peak. But Aubameyang don't offer you nothing in terms of general play, so I can see why he's not playing, if I'm honest. No worries, bro. Sengare, that one's gone. I think Elise and Diaby as profiles for right mid is calm. Elise needs to be worked on, especially with scoring, and Diaby still got to apply Bundesliga tact, but he fits what Martinelli would do on that side. Obviously, Martinelli is better. I think the Diaby thing is a myth, if I'm completely honest with you. But if Arteta can get it done, why not? On the club's talent ID, I'd like to think similar to City's interest in Cucurella, it's the system that makes the player seem elite. Probably, you know, the system has to enhance players, and a good system. It's like Jose Mourinho, you know, when John Terry got a bit old and he couldn't play a high line, he found a way of masking that. It's like with Arteta right now with Granit Xhaka. He's hidden his frailties and he's enhanced what he's good at, and he's running with it. That's what a system should be. If I have a fox in the box as a striker, and I'm not creating no chances for him, the system isn't helping him. Really and truly, is it? If I got a target man and I'm telling him to, and he's not the fastest, and I'm telling him to drop, and his link up playing the best, and I'm telling him to drop deep, it's dead, isn't it? Like, you got to use tools how they got to be used. Caicedo, but I do like Thuram, man. It's more with Caicedo. It's kind of, I know what you do at the moment, sort of thing. What do you make of the Mane-Sane incident? It's a bit sad. Would love to know what's going on. There's rumors that, you know, Sane called him something derogatory, which is fine, bewildering if true from Sane, because you're kind of boying yourself, really. It's a bit mad, but you don't want to hear that, innit? But, you know, it's high pressure environments, Champions League. I can understand why man get mad. I think Diaby is fierce. I'm not sure he is worth 80 million asking price, but such is the market. Thank you, Chelsea. To be fair, the market's been effed up way before Chelsea. In fact, Chelsea have played a part, but the Premier League has messed it up, bro. Sigurdsson's gone for 50 million. The riches of the Premier League, it's like tourists. If I go to, I don't know, some country and I try and buy something in a local area, they're gonna hear my accent and apply a tax. If you're from that country and you go in and buy the same thing, you're not gonna pay that. How many times do we see British clubs try to find a player, get priced out of a certain player, and then they move to another European club for cheaper? This is just it is the industry. We cannot afford Jesus out, Eddie carrying the load next season with Champions League. We need to be cutthroat at certain positions. Generally, I agree. I think a couple of the players that have played frequently, they've just naturally got to become squad players. 21 more likes and we've hit 100 people. What else have we got, man? Before we get into stuff, you lots of talking points have been amazing. If people think we're at the level of City, you are truly mistaken. We're about 60% there. I'd say 40. Purely because I don't think the team is how Arteta wants it yet. So if we're not fully in Arteta's image, I can't really look at us under the guise of City. I think we're moving there, but I think Arteta wants to go up several levels, and I don't know this, and I don't know who's going to sign, but I think Arteta might do something crazy or unpopular, and that's the one thing. The next thing I love about Arteta, he makes unpopular decisions. He doesn't bend into the pressure. You look at timing, you know, Saliba can't play, sent him on loan, brought him back now. Last season, people say Martinelli's got to go on loan, bust him at the right time. When, you know, I'm sure technically when Arteta was employed, what was it, Everton away? He was in the stands, Smith Rowe played. He said, you know what, Smith Rowe, you got to go to Huddersfield for on loan for a year. He came back and bust him. So timing is everything. And I think that's one luxury we have to give to these managers, is that we don't necessarily see them. It's someone like Kyrgios, you know, at the end of the day, you played at a World Cup. You've played 20 or time, you know, you've played 20, 30 or times in Italy and all of these things. And if you're on the bench, if you've been signed, you need to be able to be used at any given time. But I think anytime I've seen Kyrgios, which in truth, the sample size is too small for Arsenal, I can see why you're not playing, because maybe the communication, the understanding of the tactics, the ability, obviously joined in January, you're not ready right now, sort of thing. So there's a lot of levels we need to go at, man. You know, exactly. We haven't, you know, again, yeah, man, we can't be 60% because we're not in all the competitions like them. We've still got City self-capitulate as well, but like we've self-capitulated at times and we don't have the depth. Shakhtar demanded 100 million euros because United paid 95 million for Anthony. They believe Mudryk is better than Anthony again, and it's not even about who. You're right on that, Sidi, but it's not even about who's better than who. It's about what you can hustle now. You know, very few players is their value for money in the market at the time. Obviously, in hindsight and duration and all of that jazz, Benjamin White, but at the time we had to pay a premium. Really, you know, we have got a bit of a deal with Zinchenko, with Trossard, with Jesus. We've been able to leverage their club situations, but for every one of those, we've been priced out at the time for Caicedo. We dodged the bullet, and he's been linked with Roma and Frankfurt. But them times our when Partey was signed, obviously Douglas Luiz towards the end of the market, and there's probably a bunch of others, man. Would you take Telemans or Rabiot? I'd more want Telemans, man. Rabiot just seems a bit of a spoiled kid. I don't know him from anywhere. But I kind of think with Rabiot, what you see is what you get. Not to say that's bad. With Telemans, I just think you're a player that you might surprise me in Mikel Arteta's system in that 8 role, if I'm honest with you. Balogun Eddie would generate minimum 65, 70. Ooh, I'm not sure. You mean if you could hustle, you could get what you want, but I'm not sure. Trossard as our third striker. I think we need 2 out-and-out organic forwards, and then you can do the Trossard thing. But I do agree in that. While I love what Eddie's done, I like Jesus. I do think, you know, in another season, we might not be able to just not get away with it because we've earned that right, you know, but get away with it, if I'm honest with you. So, yeah, there will need to be several things to improve within that regards. Let's look at the transfer news and all of that jazz, people. 1 second, let's make a timestamp. Nobody cares about you lot on the watching it on the replay as much as I do, people. Smash the like button and all of that. Let's make a 1 timestamp. Arsenal thoughts, and let's change that. What's needed for next season. 4:30 we're playing Football Manager, people. 6 p.m. I should be with Tom Canton on his TV, technically TV, but YouTube channel. So yeah, let's look at what the papers are saying in relation to Arsenal, folks. TVs, let's call it that. Where do we start? Let's start here, people, with the whole reason Kovacic is in the thumbnail. Again, smash the like button. Man said Arsenal. Chelsea prepare an 8-man fire sale for the summer with Mason Mount, Kovacic, and N'Golo Kante's futures all uncertain as Todd Bertie bids to cut losses with no European football next season. Crazy. Completely off topic, but I hope Destiny and Doggy's all right, man. That sounds like a madness. And I also hope Wojciech Szczesny's all right as well. He had to come off for Juventus. We know Chelsea need to clear a lot of players, really. They need to clear a lot of players. They spent a lot and it's peak. And Kante, they wanted to sign a new deal. That's where his rumors come from. Kovacic, in my opinion, you don't stay in the Prem. But if I had to buy anyone, I would. I think Mason Mount's decent. I think he'll sign a new deal, but he's been linked with Liverpool. Who's the other 8 players? They've also been linked with selling Levi Colwill, who, although we don't necessarily need a left-sided centre back, and we just signed Kieran and got Gabriel, I'd do it. Honestly, I'd do it. I think Colwill's got a lot of potential. Kovacic is in the last year of his deal, so maybe there's money to be said there, but he's attracted interest from Manchester City, which he could say, you know what, Pep thing, let me go do that. They could also sell Conor Gallagher, Loftus-Cheek, and Pulisic. They're going to have to keep some of these academy players purely for homegrown purposes as well. So we'll have to see, really, but there's nothing too new there. Bamian's going to have to keep it moving, really and truly. Chelsea just simply got way too many players. In relation to Ruben Neves, apparently George Mendes continues to insist on Mendes as an option for both Barcelona. João Laporte is open to the idea, but Xavi has rejected him as a Busquets replacement. If we're not successful in the pursuits of Caicedo, Lavia, Zubimendi, Declan Rice, and whoever, maybe that's another option to explore. In relation to Victor Roig, Barcelona are working on signing a forward. Aubameyang and Victor Roig are the favourites. Aubameyang would arrive if Chelsea release him. There's talk Chelsea could rip up his contract. While Roig is, if his price doesn't rise too much, the option of Marcus Thuram also remains open. Come on, man. Real Brazilian youths, man. Come on, bring him. Away from that, Chelsea risk losing Levi Colwill in fire sale as Liverpool and City eyes summer transfer rate. Get involved, man. We've previously been linked with him. Get him involved, man. He's doing well at Brighton. Get him involved, man. Bring him. Look how they tried to slap Hudson-Odoi's name. Hudson-Odoi's not bringing no fees. You ain't even do Bundesliga tax. Someone just said with Diaby Bundesliga tax. I don't know where that applies for Hudson-Odoi. I've even got pre-assist. But for what it's worth, people, Colwell only has 2 years left on his contract. Get it done, man. Bring him. Him, Kovacic, perfect, mate. Perfect. Kovacic is being linked as a replacement for Bernardo Silva or Gundogan. Gundogan's apparently agreed to move to Barcelona, if you look at reports today. Declan Rice may be piece of Arsenal's future, but is a problem in the present. Okay, what does this mean? Mikel Arteta prepares a plan to get around Declan Rice this weekend. He is also preparing a plan to include him next season. The Arsenal manager has already started thinking about the evolution of his team, and the club are currently seen as the likeliest to secure Rice's signature if he does move. I mean, until he's agreed a deal, medicals, and he's on the club's website saying, I used to watch Arsenal growing up, it's all a myth. We've seen it before. There have already been back channel overturns, and personal terms are seen as easy to sort. West Ham are not even getting into discussion about a sale right now. So there's that. For all the indirect talks, there's no significant progress that can be made to the end of the season. That's where the real difficulties will be. The relegation threatened club would want at least 100 million for Rice, and the possibility of him staying obviously hasn't been discounted. That position will only strengthen if West Ham stay up, which makes Arsenal's visit on Sunday so important to the future for a lot of figures. A home victory would put David Moyes' side on the brink of survival, such as the congestion in that half of the table. Any win, especially after last week's victory, now has a disproportionate effect. The flip side is that another defeat might put them right back in it. We all know if Arsenal drop more points, it's peak, people. Specific to Declan Rice, what does this mean? Declan Rice, for his part, has realised it's probably time to move forward with his career, even if that isn't completely certain. He likes Moyes on a personal level and has generally enjoyed his management, but there's naturally been frustration about how the club have gone backwards. They drew in the Conference League. West Ham aren't always the most progressive in attack. Either many of Rice's best friends in football, particularly those from the England squad, are meanwhile all at elite clubs. The discussions in those ends naturally have an effect. He is the one nowhere near the top end. Rice, meanwhile, is said to be a particular admirer of how Arsenal play, seen as one of the best approaches in European football right now. He has raved about them while watching them with the rest of the West Ham squad. That would make any signing all the more ideal, especially as opportunities are limited elsewhere. Chelsea have long had the strongest interest in Rice, and while the signings of Enzo Fernandez has lessened that, Arsenal are conscious of how their London rivals beat them to Mudryk. It brought some frustrating comments from senior figures about how Chelsea are getting involved in everyone's business, even though Leandro Trossard has worked out much better. There's another element with Rice potentially going to North London, though. There's more space for him. Man United also have an interest in him, people, and again, it is what it is. So I don't think we've learned anything there. That just seems to be a lot of opinions. West Ham overplay their hand as Declan Rice transferred to Arsenal now increasingly possible. Arsenal set to benefit in their bid to sign Declan Rice due to a lack of serious interest from other clubs. So again, it all depends who you read. It's been said that West Ham envisioned 150 million fee from a bidding war for the midfielder, but the prospects have been played down. A switch to North London is thought to be the most likely destination for the Hammers skipper. The Daily Mail column by Ladyman intimated that executives at the London Stadium will need to reconsider their expectations for the 41-capped England international. A deal for Declan Rice to Arsenal looks increasingly possible this summer, and that would suit the England international. West Ham were talking about 150 million fee a year ago, but that would have required an auction, and it does not look as though there's going to be one. So Arsenal might be able to get the deal they want, and West Ham's value may have to be adjusted. With hindsight, it feels as though the selling club may have overplayed their hand on this one. And a lot could change, people, really and truly. It's no surprise the club has tried to set the narrative with talk of an excessive fee around the 150 million mark, but privately they know the sort of figure is more realistic and in line with a player with a genuine interest in the player. So we'll have to see at the end of the season where Declan Rice is concerned, people. Liverpool apparently are targeting Declan Rice and Moses Caicedo, which has a knock-on effect. They've also been linked with Gravenberch. So 3 of the names I said they've been linked with a whole host of Premier League clubs. Would love Barella. I think Nunes of Wolves is decent, but Wolves has shown that they'll play hardball over their players as well, really and truly. Interestingly, for interceptions, Declan Rice is 3rd. For possession 1 and defensive 3rd, he's 5th. For possession 1 in midfield, he's 2nd. For passes completed, he's 9th. That could be a lot better at a better club. Carrying distance, which again, I don't think he's a dribbler. I think he carries the ball. He's 3rd, so it's quite interesting. When you look at this article of Moses Caicedo, for tackles in the Premier, he's 3rd. For interceptions, he's 5th. For draws, he's 6th. For possession 1 in the mid-3rd, he's 6th. For opposition half passes completed, whatever that is, he's 8th. Would have been nice to have I guess these are where they scored the highest, but it would have been lovely if this article had the same stats for both so that we can evidently compare them, people. So I have to see. That is where the initial article came out of that we read, people, with the think piece. Is there anything else we're missing out in the world of football before we continue? Big up you lot. What again are you lot saying? Make sure I'm taking you lot in. Big up American Gooner. Appreciate that. What's the hype around this Waters kid? Never seen him play. Is he good? Calm. He's calm, man. Steady Eddie. Appreciate the belated stuff. Gabriel Jesus was 18 when he joined City. Take the risk with Real. Get him to the Emirates. Gundogan, a no-brainer. Free transfer, leadership and quality could compete with Xhaka. A short-term win now player. I hear that. Once again, Eddie misses way too much really good chances. I hear that. But if I'm honest with you, you know, if I'm completely honest with you, yeah, strikers miss chances. Jesus miss hella chances. Eddie miss hella chances. The most clinical players, probably Saka and Martinelli, they miss chances. Odegaard as well, baseball, they miss chances. It's a bit harsh. Hey, DG, if Chelsea look to offload Mudryk this summer, would you like to see us bring him in if the price is right? If the price is right, the level of interest that Arteta was going over you for, can't imagine. I think they'd be stupid to get rid of him, but why not? Would you take Zaha on the free? It feels like the boat has kind of left Zaha, if I'm honest with you. Can't rule out anything, but it feels like that's gone. Do we need a good goal scorer number 9? If you could get that done, as well as right back, left backs, right-sided centre-back, back up, and central midfield, get it done. Jesus, Felix, or Osimhen / Trossard. There's too many false nines for me there. I need a couple of organic striker options because there's going to be games like Liverpool away where, as good as Trossard is as a false 9, we need someone who's a traditional striker with his back to goal there, in my opinion. Looks like it was a calm birthday yesterday. G able to get up and stream this afternoon. I always get up, man. You lot should see me on the night out. I still get up. Sometimes I wake up the next day, I'm absolutely finished. But I'm here for you lot. If you're a footballer and you've seen Liverpool's decline, questions about ownership of the club, the pressure of rebuilding the squad, for me, Arsenal would be a better option in Champions League football too. It's true, but I wouldn't say Liverpool are an unattractive prospect, really, and you can't negate what they've done for years so far. Juventus are confident Arsenal won't be signing Vlahovic this summer. I mean, it seems like that one day is gone, people. Apparently, the director said, we have no doubt on Dusan as a crucial player for our present and future project, despite leaks and stories. We see how hard he works every day in training. That's why we are confident of present and future. We're optimistic. If you lot are broke and you're presented with an offer too good to turn down, you might change it. Arsenal want to re-sign former player who they gave up on after just one appearance in 2 years. Allegedly, we tried to sign him in January, and also we're back in for Bennacer, who scored the other day for AC Milan. He's just recently signed a new deal. I don't know what the release clause would be. There's rumors there's that in there, but apparently we want to re-sign him. Should have never left. Apparently Liverpool have been linked with him as well as us, people. The reports from Italy via Football 365 suggest Arsenal could even try to tempt Milan into a sale by offering Balogun in a swap deal, which, if Balogun's made it clear he doesn't want to be a bit part row at the Emirates, that could knock some of the fee off, although I'd prefer selling Balogun purely with a resale value and things like that, people. I mean, it doesn't seem that there's anything with Bennacer. Another one like Milinkovic-Savic, where we've been linked with. We'd have to see. Yesterday was linked with Kante. Make sure you're checking out my playlist and the other videos, people. And also, do not forget, Sunday, 1 p.m, we're watching West Ham Arsenal together. So that's that in Bennacer. By Leverkusen star Moussa Diaby is wanted by Newcastle, Arsenal, and Paris Saint-Germain this summer. There also is some reports that say PSG have begun talks with him, but his price could rise 4 times higher if the German side triumph in the Europa League. Anything more than the 50 million sort of region, even that, I'm not really for it, people. But 23 years of age, bring him if we want to, really. But where's the actual reports? As per Sportsblin, Diaby's exit this summer has been discussed within the club's hierarchy, who are looking to receive a bumper fee as high as 4 times his 2019 price tag for the in-demand French international. If they sell him back to Paris Saint-Germain, quite pleased. Newcastle and Arsenal's attack would be well bolstered by the arrival of one of the most accurate crosses of a ball in the Bundesliga. We don't really cross the ball like that, so maybe if you get another striker, we could, but it's kind of irrelevant, really and truly. Apparently, Diaby has been coy about his preferred destination next season, but spoke about good fortune in attracting the interest of big-name clubs. It's fun when many clubs are interested in you. I'm concentrating on my season in Leverkusen. It's important for me to make progress, and he must be enticed by linking up with Mbappe back home at Paris Saint-Germain. Once again, you know, Arsenal and Newcastle have been joined by Paris Saint-Germain to try and bring the 23-year-old home, people. Apparently, Zaha's rejected a free transfer offer from the Middle East. He's been linked with everybody. Arsenal and Chelsea could have the chance to sign Marcus Thuram on a free transfer this summer. I'd prefer your brother who plays in centre mid. I don't really rate Marcus Thuram. I'll hold my hands up if I'm wrong. At the end of the day, I'm sitting here on YouTube saying I don't rate him. He's played in the World Cup. Opinions are free. We can all have them. But the opinions of those who matter is he's playing. But free agent, 25 years of age. He's not the worst, but I don't see the need. Again, if Arteta wants it and he sees something I don't see, I don't see it. You know, I'd prefer to play you up front. I'm not really with you on the wings. You look like the only good strength he has is your ability to win fouls. It remains to be seen if Arsenal and Chelsea will now be sufficiently tempted to revisit their interest in Thuram, it says here. So we'll have to see. But free transfer, you could be an attractive proposition to someone. Balogun has been linked with Leo and AS Monaco people, and it's also explained AC Milan have their eyes on the international as well, on the England under 21s international. Apparently, we're asking for more than 20 million euros. He's valued by reports in Germany at 40 million. Also been linked with Leipzig. He's contracted until 2025 and probably has no willingness to sign an extension. Apparently, he's top of the wish list for AC Milan people. He's got 18 goals and 3 assists in Liga, if you didn't know. We'll have to see, really. I'm always coy on reports out of Italy. I spoke to someone. Journalist says he was told 18 months ago that Manchester City want key Arsenal man. Well, I mean, Mikel Arteta was always going to be groomed to take over from Pep one day. So, and if Arteta keeps doing what he's doing, of course he's going to get linked with other clubs. But he's got unfinished business here. Arsenal to beat Barcelona to the Brazilian Aguero. I mean, that's creative journalism. Who is this? Is it a new? Is it Victor Rogue or yeah, his? Yeah, it is. People say it all depends where you read. Some say Chelsea are the front runners. Some say we're the front runners to sign Victor Rogue. People, we'll have to see exactly, people, what's going on. Some say Barcelona are the front runners. He's been described as Aguero, people, for a similar stature and movement within the box. And once again, he can operate out wide as well. I'm all for it. He's valued at 40 million euros. I'm all for it, especially if you sell Balogun for, not that I want to, but if he was to sell Balogun for 20, 25, 30, whatever plus million, this signing essentially pays for itself, really, if I'm honest. We've been linked with Neuhaus. It's been a few years since we've been linked with the Gladbach man. Very technical midfielder. But according to 90 Minute, Arsenal among the clubs potentially looking at signing Neuhaus this summer, people. Next, Tony Kroos. I'm not sure if he's there, but at 26, he finally looks like a decent player. In the past, he's been linked with Arsenal, City, and Liverpool. Very good technically. I'm not too sure physically, people. That he's got the physicality, but I don't think he puts himself about like that. He's more technical. We know Odegaard is not leaving, so that's a myth. Waters is being prepped to become a first team player. If we're not doing that with a couple of our under 21s and 18s, then what we're doing, we've been linked with Diaz once again of AC Milan on loan / Real Madrid, people. Apparently Real Madrid want 25 million euros, and he's also drawing interest from a couple of clubs. This article's also said we're looking at Diaby, people. Once again, Romano once said Moussa Diaby is a player that Arsenal have been following for a long time and they know him very well. They're convinced of his potential. At the same time, Bayern Leverkusen have no intention to sell the player in January unless they receive a really important bid. So that was in January. Hopefully things have changed in months to come, people. Saka has bigged up 2 of his new teammates in Jesus and Zinchenko. I think in 2 ways they're influencing us. Of course, they're quality on the pitch. They're both special players. And then with their experience, they have been in many title races and fought for the biggest of trophies. So they are just sharing their experiences with us and helping us mentally keep going. Fair enough. He then said on the Liverpool game, of course, we're disappointed because we played so well in the first half and we wanted to continue playing like this. But Liverpool is a top team, and obviously in the stadium with the atmosphere, it can help them a lot. In the end, we just have to take the point and say thank you to Ramsdale as well because he saved us at the end. Now we have to change our focus to winning against West Ham. Wise words from a wise man. McAllister, apparently he's attracting Liverpool, Chelsea and Man United interest, people. He looks at his dad has said he'll make a move very early in the summer and he would welcome a transfer from Brighton. Specifically, his dad said, people, normally the next transfer window will find him playing in another club. We don't know which one. The talks are beginning in general, but it's most likely that Alexis will already be playing in another team next July. So there you have it, people, really and truly. Mitoma's also been linked with other clubs as well. We'll have to see how these things develop. Leicester have been linked with Balogun, but if Leicester don't stay up, it's fair to rule that one out, people. But the more clubs Balogun's linked with, the better, I guess, essentially. World-class player is likely to join Arsenal. Edu might be getting the deal he wants. Who's this in relation to? Declan Rice, world-class? I'm not sure yet, but bring it on. Let's see what goal.com has said as well in relation to Arsenal. How do you get to the Arsenal page? Don't flop me. I feel under pressure with you lot now. How the hell do you get this to Arsenal? There we have it. Oh, we've been linked with Xavi Simons again, people. Bring him. Arsenal keen on signing PSV star Xavi Simons. We saw him in the group stages. We've asked about, or better yet, inquired about N'Golo Kante. We're among the interested clubs in Wilf Zaha. Balogun is being eyed by Leipzig to replace Nkunku. Ollie Watkins is signing a contract extension at Aston Villa. Apparently, Arsenal were watching him. Arsenal are monitoring Gravenbeck. We're finding it difficult to keep hold of Balogun. We've entered the race for Baku. Aston Villa are interested in Nelson. We've revived talks for Yuri Telemans. We've been linked with Eintracht Frankfurt midfielder Jibril Sow. Everton, provided they stay up, want 60 to 70 million for Onana. We're set to go for Caicedo in the summer. We've been linked with offering Zinchenko or Tini to swap for Theo Hernandez of AC Milan. We're looking at Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Xhaka and Pepe in a swap deal for Vlahovic. If you believe these things, we're prepared to go over 100 million in our bid to sign Rice. Barcelona open to selling Rafinha and have set a price tag of 55 million. Weren't that what he paid? So with that being said, that looks like the current news, people, that affects us, people. So yeah, smash the like button if you have not done such already, and one love in advance. And don't forget, Sunday we're obviously watching West Ham against Arsenal. Smash the like button on that. Every like helps the engagements. All these links are hella bookie. Only trust Rice and Caicedo links. Rest is just paper talks. You're right, man. And the dream is free. The Arsenal sold separately. If nothing more, it's a great talking point for us. What's Brahim Diaz's actual position? I reckon he'd prefer to play in the 10, but I'd say out wide. I will be at 6 p.m. with Tom. Big him up. I just need Arsenal to bring in some young techie 8 like Cazorla, Mudryk, some ballers like that. I think we all do. We have all the Brazilians we have at our club. We should be the front runners over Chelsea. I did read he prefers Barca if they do it financially. He does. I read that as well. You're right. I think Barcelona is the one that entices him. I wonder where Pep could go after City. I mean, the football romantic in me, it probably won't happen. It's probably saying return home to Barcelona. Mbappe can leave at any moment. That shouldn't be an equation in his decision making, which is true, but anyone can leave at any moment. I was saying it because he's a Frenchman, isn't it? And to be honest, PSG should really just bring back all their... I think one thing PSG could do is develop their academy players properly and actually, you know, bring them back, because you've had half of these PSG youngsters are either in Germany or somewhere else, you know. Champions League final a few years ago, an academy prospect in Kingsley Coleman bagged against you. That's got to be a kick in the teeth. That's like Balogun leaving us and we buck him in the Champions League final somehow and he scores. Yeah, we need a man who can challenge them centre-backs like Kanate. I hear that. Interesting comments. Sorry, DG, I missed your streams this week. What's my views on Zaha? You know, I can't say some of them words. I like Zaha. I think the boat's gone, isn't it, really? On one hand, I think Premier League proven. You're 30. You wouldn't block the pathway if we're going to look to scout someone in these roles or anyone emerging. You're ready to hit the ground running. I think you would play better with better players. I'm not too sure on his wages and length of contract. They'd be important. He looks like he is physically declining a bit. It's not that I don't think it's worth it. I just think it's a myth, man. PSG need to do the buying thing in the French Liga, use his talent. Exactly. People call France the Farmers League. And half the time you talk about new signings or signing new players, it's always players from these divisions. Big up you lot across Twitch and YouTube, people. We just need 7 more likes and we've got 100. One love in advance. What else have we got? Should we go for Bellingham in principle? Yeah, I wanted Bennacer, but you heard there is a release clause, but again, it makes it a lot tougher. Jesus, Osimhen, Trossard, that would be lit for front options, and the option of Martinelli anytime you want, or even Balogun. But Balogun, you got to put asterisks next to his name because there's bare whispers, you know, depending where you read. He's leaving, he's staying. Obviously, regarding players coming in and players going out of the club, clearly, indirectly, Arteta and Edu, they know what they kind of want to do. But final decisions will probably happen when the window is shut. And that goes with several players on loan at this club, several players, you know, that we're looking to bring in. And every other club, really. Signing Zaha would be a disgrace. How would it be a disgrace? That's harsh. Disgrace, that's harsh. Harsh. It wouldn't be the end of the world. I don't really want it, but I'm not really against it. I wouldn't say end of the world, like hard. I think I felt that about Willian. To be fair, I felt that about Danny Welbeck, and Danny Welbeck proved me wrong. You know, I have to say sorry to Welbeck. I've never been more upset being linked, and it's bad mind, yeah. It's proper bad mind, people. But I have to be honest. I've never wanted a player to fail a medical other than that. But by the end of it, I was not upset to see Welbeck go, but he was a decent player, man. Shout out to the club's talent ID. Speaking of Balogun, people, I've just seen this report. Balogun won't play for Arsenal next season unless guaranteed first team spot, not first 11 spot. Now, to be fair to Balogun, these are whispers. We don't know what he said or not said. In my humble opinion, I don't think Balogun's an idiot, and he seems a lot more mature since he's gone on loan. It did seem like when he used to speak and do the speaking before he went on loan, his second loan, he seemed a bit naive. Now he's a bit more sensible of where he's at. I don't think Balogun is sitting there and demanding playing first team, like starting week in, week out. I think what he would like to know is indirectly Arteta's plans, because now you've got Trossard, you've got Martinelli, there's rumours of a winger, you've got Eddie in front of you, rightly or wrongly, you've got Jesus. Also, there's only a certain amount of attacking players that can play or be on the bench. I just think Balogun wants to know where he figures in. And if Arteta says, honestly, right now, you'd probably be third choice or whatever, then he has a decision to make, whether that's staying here with what we're doing with Haaland and trying at least until next January, or if he says, you know what, Gaffer, thank you for the kind words and being honest with me. I don't really want to do that. You know, I'd love to make it at Arsenal, but I need to remove emotion. I need to do what I need to do to be twice the footballer I am now. Like, evidently Balogun's a better footballer than he this time this year than he was last year. That's what I think it is, really, if I'm completely honest with you. But for what it's worth, he does not want to return to Arsenal next season unless he's guaranteed first team minutes. There's no guarantees in life. There's no guarantees in life for any of them footballers. And respectfully to Balogun, who are you to demand that if you are demanding that? But I don't necessarily think he's demanding that. Balogun has attracted plenty of interest while on loan and would prefer a permanent move away to secure more minutes rather than fight with the likes of Jesus and Ketia for a starting spot, maybe indirectly Trossard. He has 18 league goals this season, people, only behind Jonathan David and Mbappe. Arsenal are keen to hold on to Balogun and are currently in talks with the player and his reps to try to convince him to stay at the club next season. If I'm Balogun, I'm delaying any talks and just keep doing what I'm doing. If I'm Arsenal, it's bad mind. Tell him every lie under the book. Yeah, bro, you're going to play. You're going to be part of this, that, and the other. Once he signs that new contract, if Arteta wants to use him, cool. If you don't, back on loan, let's make some money. Arsenal have not ruled out offering Balogun a new and improved contract to reward him if he chooses to stay put in North London next season. His current deal runs until 2025 after he signed a 4-year deal with Arsenal in 2021. 2 years later, is that, you know, who knows? There might be an option of a fifth. So big up Balogun, man. Would love to see him get an opportunity. But if Arsenal were to sell him for 25, 30, 35, 40 plus million for someone that's played 10 senior appearances for Arsenal, don't know how many he's 90, the academy's meant to do that. And you shouldn't really judge a striker because he had 3 goals and 21 appearances in his first loan at Middlesbrough. He's built on that and doing what he's doing. I'd keep Balogun and ditch Eddie simple. I wouldn't make a decision on, but I think you could do that. I think in many ways, Eddie might be the better option. I think Balogun might be the better option. I also feel if he was harsh and we had the bread, maybe bringing a striker better than Jesus, them two of the guys indirectly is peak for them. But then you have to wonder, in terms of resale value, who's more likely to bring in certain P's? You could say Eddie's a fairly established Premier League footballer, a second choice option, has scored some big goals, you know, or you could say, you know what, Balogun, there's not too many English strikers performing better than him or having higher goals than him. And as you saw, he's around Mbappe and Jonathan David, who's been in Ligue 1 for a while now. So it all depends, but not everyone can make it here, really. We'd have to see. And for Balogun, I like it. He's hungry, man. He's very hungry, you know, and nothing can be decided in Balogun's case at club level or at international level just yet, really. And strikers peak late. I'm not saying Balogun or Eddie is or isn't the guy, but at 21, 22, 23, where was Aubameyang? Where was Vardy? Where was Kane? Really. Makes Balogun look bad. No way he's demanding to start for us. I don't think demanding, I don't know. We need a dark art specialist like Rodri. Amen. But I'd say the whole team needs to do dark arts. You see De Bruyne play for fouls. You see Gundogan at Crystal Palace, you know, and I'd say it's bad mind, but that's the next step for Saka and Martinelli. Can you take a tumble? Because it's so sad to say, but we are probably a bit too honest. You've got to do some dirty things to live clean sometimes. And let's be honest, I'll only say it once. You know, Perez, Henry, they knew when to take it. Definitely Henry knew when to take a tumble. Perez knew when to take a tumble. Henry knew when to do dark arts. You're not going to get away with it now, VAR, but I'm sure if you're an Arsenal fan who's Irish, you're a bit conflicted on Thierry Henry after, you know, keeping the ball in possession and things. But yeah, man. I don't trust him, man. I don't think anyone demands. I don't know, man. I wouldn't say demands. Do I think Balogun has sat there and said, you know what, Gaffer, I'd like to have a conversation of honestly where you see me 100%, but demands, man just wants us to click on the article, which is cool because, you know, we've read it and it's a great time to be, you know, it's always great to read these things online and hear you lots of opinions and things like that. And the club, Balogun, no one's going to come out and say that's not true. I don't know for demands. But I do think Balogun on one hand wants to make it at Arsenal, rightly so. You know, you're seeing your brethren do it. it's a young squad. You know, you're feeling confident because you've gone out on loan, but you need to probably sometimes it might not just happen here for you, and not just him, several others, even Reece Nelson. If you sign a new deal, great, because money's not going out the door. But how much minutes are you going to get next season? How many times are you going to be in the squad? Could it be worth going somewhere else to play on a consistent basis? And also with Balogun and Nelson, it could also be beneficial for some players to go develop elsewhere, because obviously, you know, every game they play, people will hype them. But when you're not under this Arsenal thing, you can develop out of the spotlight. And I think that's helped Balogun, because as much as we all know he's got 18 league goals, how many people really have watched him, sat there and watched him? How was your birthday? It was great, man. It was great. It was great. It was great. You know, I'm not even going to advertise them brands until they DM me or something. But we've got things on deck. Balogun is having one good season in France. One. If he comes back and scoring goals a lot, then you can say he's way better than Eddie. And I don't even like Eddie like that. That's our main striker. I don't think people can draw conclusions on any, man. You know, I hear it. For me, Balogun looks like he's got a higher ceiling and he's got more to his game and things like that. And he's out of all this, you know, Jesus, Eddie, Balogun, bro, he's got the most goals in the league. Whatever way we shape it, strikers have to score goals. But at the same time, if Balogun was here doing what Eddie's doing and Eddie was over there with 17, 18 goals, how would you look at it really and truly? I do think Eddie and Ketty are, in terms of maturity and probably what Mikel Arteta wants, over 90 minutes is ahead of it, Balogun, because he's been exposed to more first-team football. So it all depends really and truly. I'd love them both to make it. I'd love, you know, it is what it is. As I've said a few years ago, where you got him, Tyrese, John Jules, well, Balogun, Tyrese, and Eddie and Ketty. I said it a few years ago, and I'm sure some of it, I'm seeing some names here. I said minimum, them three have to be developed. If they're not going to make it here, players that are worth 20 million quid, that's 60 million, you know, and we need to get better, because Haylen's not everyone that comes through Haylen is going to make peas. Let's just say we sign a new right back, Fresnadar, 18 for 30 odd million quid, and you've got Tomiyasu and you've got Benjamin White. That might block the pathway of Waters, who can play in a couple of roles, or Norton Coffey. But if you develop Norton Coffey to a degree where like 20 million, cool, go and make that bread. You know, once upon a time, you might have got something decent for Nelson. You definitely would have got something good for Ainsley Maitland-Niles. We all know what we got for Iwobi and Joe Willock, and they're going off and they're doing great things and flying the Haylen badge high, man, with what they're doing. But not everyone can make it. Sometimes we're going to make decisions and sell people, and a few years from now, we're like, raw, why didn't they make it here? But we need to just keep going, really and truly. It's an interesting one, but there is no right and wrongs, if I'm completely honest with you guys. One thing I like about Eddie, though, whether you like him or not, he does react to a lot. I like his self-belief, and I think he reacts to adversity in a great way, man. Shouldn't we worry about 2023 first? Not sure what you're referring to there. Big up Lemon Seals in the cut. DG swap Lokonga for Bennacer. If they're silly enough to do that, why not, man? Why not? Like, if the boy, I'm on it, man. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Eddie is ahead of Balogun in Arteta's head, and that's what matters. Things can change, but you're right. And the thing is, that's like, if Balogun would sign a new deal, then for me, if he's not going to play here, I'd say you go Crystal Palace or something. They need a striker. They ain't got big resources. We're hoping Palace stay in the division. Let's go over there. In a nice way, I don't, you know, we should have probably got Balogun. I hope there's an option of a 5th year. We probably got to start putting these guys on death row sort of contracts, like you see them 8-year deals, because then we control it. But if I'm Balogun, the longer you don't commit to the club, you know, the better it is for you, because then you're putting pressure. And also, I'd say you need emotion in life. You need emotion in football. But he needs to weigh up the pros and cons. Like, is it best to stay at Arsenal or go elsewhere? Because at the end of the day, we can't have it all. Yes, young players are developing, but we're not playing young players for no reason. You know, the only time we was kind of doing that is when we just really had to strip this club back, and Saka and Smith Rowe benefit from that. You know, there's going to be less chances for young players generally, because we're better as a football club now and we're more competitive. You can't have it all. You look at City, of course, there's a couple of players they've let go. You know, they've let Lavia go. A couple of players have gone off and done well. That they could have given opportunity. And you've got obviously Cole Palmer's in the first team technically. Foden and Rico Lewis have popped up, but there's less opportunities because of the caliber of players and what they're doing. Really, again, Chelsea probably made the wrong decision. Who knows, if they didn't sell Salah, Kevin De Bruyne, these guys, they might have never become the players they are now. But they made a decision probably too early. But at the time, they were competing for major things. So we are going to make them mistakes, man. A price cannot be put on development loans. No such thing as a bad loan, you know. He learned on his stuff at Middlesbrough, took that, running away with it now. Big up, Deluded, Gooner, DG. Great to see you doing bits, consistent content and balanced comment on of our club. Graham, appreciate those kind words. But what I would say is, without you, lot, these opinions fall on deaf ears, man. I appreciate the discussions that we're having. No one's right, no one's wrong. If Balogun is sold, we need to put a buyback clause. So if he grows and hits in the Premier, comes back, I hear that. Say your controversial takes, man. Partey fitness issue for West Ham. Hopefully it's a precaution, man. But if you could put sell on fees and these things, great. Look how many goals Lacazette has scored in Liga. The Prem is different gravy. Wish we could keep all our Haaland players, but if we can, I think we should cash in on, man. Lokonga and Balogun at Burnley would be nice loan moves. I hear that. I'd rather Balogun at Palace, though. I'm just enticed with that. Lokonga, you need to go and play under company. I need to see Yaya Toure. You opened your mouth and said that. Arteta likes players that will toe the line. Balogun's characteristics may not fit him long-term sites. That's harsh. Like, we don't know Balogun as a person. Similar to Willock's situation, selling Balogun might be better for all parties. And the thing is, you never know. You just never know in this life, man. I think Nelson absolutely deserves a new deal, especially next season when we're going to have to play a lot more games. I'm keeping him from a selfish point of view because by all means, bring in another wide man. But at this moment in time, no one's there. It's a body. I'm saying for Reece Nelson to get to the player you want to do and have the potential that you have and play the games you have while we're going to be in the champs. Arteta likes you, got a good bunch of players. You're an Arsenal fan. You come through the academy. Feel free to interject if I'm missing any of these things out. How often are you going to play 10 games in a row? Now, no one in Premier League is going to play 10 games for no reason. But how feasible is it that you're going to play 2 games in a row, 90 minutes, 5 games in a row, 10 games in a row? Staying at Arsenal is great for us. But a year from now, are you going to be a dramatically better player? Just like how Balogun is a dramatically better player than he was a year from now. He's got 17, 18 goals to his belt. You know, I'll be disappointed in Balogun. As much as I love what he's doing, you're flirting with 20. Go and get that. I'm not sure. What's your take on Vieira, DG? My view needs to go. A bit harsh, man. I'll give him next season. I think what shagged Vieira is, like I was saying with the young players, we're actually all right now. Xhaka and Partey, Odegaard, great trio / pivot. Right wing is where he's been getting game time at times for Saka. He can play out there, but he's not a wide man. He's a wide playmaker. You've got Odegaard in front of you. He joined us off the back of an injury, needing to adapt to the league and things like that. I see enough to persist with Vieira, and if nothing more, you can become a competent squad player. But if we're still saying the same things this time next year, then as a club, we probably need to be becoming a bit harsher, really. Like, I'm not prepared to necessarily give up on Lokonga, Tomiyasu, or Fabio Vieira. Definitely Vieira and Tomiyasu. But there are times where we kind of persist with things, and we kind of see the same movie play out. Enzo is a glorified John Joe Shelby. Come on. Enzo, listen, I don't want to praise Chelsea, but Enzo Fernandez, I know he got butchered against Real Madrid, but come on, he's wavy, man. I can't lie. I only want Nelson to get a contract in order to sell him. I don't think he's of that quality. I would love McAllister, Mount, or Maddison even, but Kovacic would be a good shout. I think Victor Rowe's better than Balogun, but at the same time, Balogun's done 17, 18 goals in the league in the top European team. Victor Rowe hasn't in it. But I really believe in Victor's quality, man. I think them players don't come around too often. Who knows? In a couple of, that opinion might look stupid, but for me, that's what I believe at this moment in time. If they don't put an athletic midfielder next to Enzo, the Premier League might eat him alive. I hear that, bro. Listen, Enzo don't play for Arsenal, so fair enough to you. And I hope he gets absolutely savaged when he comes to the Emirates. But I think he's a decent player, man. I don't think he's a player that's going to get mad goals and assists. Bro, you're not wrong, Diallo. You didn't lie when you said controversial. But I think you're harsh, man. But run the agendas. Tomiyasu and Smith Rowe, it's next season for me personally. I can't lie. I'm with Smith Rowe to the end, man. I know I'm with him. That Bukola, the guy with the long hair at Lyon, don't think he's ready, but he's wavy. He's having a relatively decent season. For me, I don't really have an opinion on him. I think he's good technically. I think he runs into the right areas on a football pitch. I think he doesn't hide. But for me to really start screaming, yo, Arsenal sign him and this and that, I'm still waiting for that wow moment. Appreciate that, Lemon, man. Appreciate that. You lot in top form as always, people. Don't forget we will be playing Football Manager. That will be on Twitch. Although make sure you're following on Kick as well, people. And one love to everyone who has done that. Don't forget Sunday, we are watching Arsenal together, people. Rice as Xhaka's replacement. It could be, but funny enough, you know, it will probably be a player that we're not talking about. Because right now, it's maybe not so much Caicedo, but it's almost assured that Declan Rice is signing for Arsenal. When you look at Cody Gakpo and Mudryk in January, and maybe there's a next name, going into the January period, they were linked with certain clubs. It was an opinion that they're going to go there. Where did Cody Gakpo end up? Because papers would have thought he's ended up at United. He went Liverpool. Mudryk went Chelsea. Again, these clubs went for him, but we never know how close or how far transfers really are away because we're not exposed to that. Feel like Arteta is trying to move on from Partey, really. I mean, Partey and Xhaka should, to a degree, move on. The older they get and the younger our squad is, we need to have those replacements or those alternatives, really. Cherky looks decent. He's finally showing consistency, man. He took a while, but he looks a decent player, man, the young boy. FM Wonder Kid as well. He's lit, man. He's very good. We've got 108 likes. Thank you very much in advance of everybody who's done that, man. If you hit the like button, God bless you. Twitch gang, I know you're doing that in spirit as well, people. On that note, I'm going to go get some lunch now. I think I've earned it with it being 90 minutes. Again, first things first. You lot in top form, man, wherever you lot are in the world, man. I appreciate you lot tuned in, day out. I'm appreciative of everything. If you haven't hit the like button, commented or subscribed, what are you doing? Make sure you're following on Twitch and on Kick and all the other things, people. Again, make sure you're setting the links, man. Nah, DJ, I'm a Chelsea fan, and trust me when I say Kovacic is one of the most fugazi, brain dead, and worst footballers I've ever seen at Chelsea. Harsh, man. You like Dennis Wise and like, you're moving a bit mad, man. Moving a bit mad. I will, man. It's chicken and rice settings. Finally, before I get out of here, I've come around to really liking and preferring Caicedo over Declan. We need a guy who wakes up to hunt for his family. I hear that, man. Big up yourself, American Gooner, because you're always here. And again, you lot, I hope you lot have all had a great week. Thank you for the birthday messages as well, belated or not, and yesterday and that. Yeah, I hope you lot have all had a great week. Hope you and your loved ones are well and safe. Appreciate the talking points we've had. Make sure you're following on Spotify as well, because I do put these on MP3 versions for you lot. It don't benefit me, it benefits you lot, because you know you lot can drive and listen and that, innit? And again, hope you and your loved ones are safe. It's always difficult to say goodbye, man. I feel like crying and that, but I'll be back again sooner rather than later. You lot stay safe, stay blessed, have a great weekend. One love.
There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like there's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like